Welcome to Red Ice Radio. I'm your host, Henrik Palmgren. Before we get to the show, I just want to mention our websites, red-ice.net and our soon-to-be-opened redicecreations.com, with all things related to Red Ice Radio, including our new subscribers section with much more interviews. There is much more information to come, so stay tuned. Now let's get on with the show. Today we have a very special guest with us, someone that I've wanted to speak to ever since I heard an interview with him about the book The Mysteries of the Great Cross of Henday, Alchemy and the End of Time. I'm talking about Jay Weidner, and I can also mention here that Jay co-authored that excellent book together with Vincent Bridges, so I don't want to leave that out here. But today we have Jay with us, and I'm very proud to have him on the program. And Jay is not only an author, he is also a filmmaker. He's behind Secrets of Alchemy, The Great Cross and the End of Time, a beautiful and incredibly exciting film that goes kind of hand in hand with the book, The Mysteries of the Great Cross of Henday. And Jay is also behind Earth Under Fire, featuring Paul Laviolette, Quantum Astrology with Rick Levine. Also Artmind with Alex Gray, an awesome artist who, among other things, have done the artwork for the excellent band Tool, if you might be familiar with them. And Jay also has done Healing Sounds, Alchemical Healing, Yoga of Light, and Healing the Luminous Body, and much more. So Jay is involved in a lot of things, many interesting projects and many interesting people, and I think a few of you out there are familiar with some of the names I mentioned there. So, and I can also mention right away here that you can find much more about Jay and about his films at his websites. One is jweidner.com. That's Jay Weidner. That's WEIDNER.com, and also sacredmysteries.com. That's sacredmysteries, one word.com. And we're going to begin today to talk a little bit about his new book, which actually is about film, and it's entitled Alchemical Cinema, A Search for the Spirit in Contemporary Filmmaking. And it's coming out sometime this fall, and we might also get into 2012, The Odyssey, a new film by Jay. So all these subjects are very close to my heart, and I'm very excited about this interview. So let's get things on the road here. Welcome to the program, Jay, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. You're involved in so many interesting things, and I find it really nice that you're such a person that use all means necessary, so to speak, to get out your material, not only through books then, but I'm talking about through film and through DVD and also, of course, through the internet. So maybe we could, begin, if you would like to, for those who don't know you or have heard about you before, if you could mention a little bit about your background and how you ended up writing and making films about these kinds of subjects.
Yeah, well, let's see. I was a journalist and a writer, pretty much a dyed-in-the-wool scientist, materialist. This is back in the early 80s. I didn't believe in things that were spiritual or in extra-dimensional manifestations or anything like that, and I encountered a book in 1986 called Mystery of the Cathedrals by an unknown author named Fulcanelli, and I became obsessed with this book because first off, I didn't believe what he was saying, and secondly, I couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying, and being what I thought was a pretty smart guy, I was irritated by the fact that I couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying. So I began investigating the book one step at a time, and as I did, I became initiated into the realm of alchemy and what it really meant. And by the time my journey was over, well, it's not over yet, but by the time the first book came out in 99, I had completely altered my life, my belief system, And I realized that, of course, that the person who wrote the book, Mysteries of the Cathedral, Fulcanelli, had in fact initiated me through the book, which was probably the intention of the book, not to initiate me, but to initiate the reader.
Yeah.
And I was a completely different person, lost all my friends. Some of my family thought I had lost my mind. And as I had been involved in media in Hollywood, I was in Hollywood writing scripts and television shows before this happened. And so I always had a relationship with media and things. And so I took that knowledge of marketing and making films and writing, and I applied it to alchemy and to this understanding of this incredibly dense, intricate, metaphysical science. And I have since gone on, and now I'm producing a feature film on the subject, 2 books, and it's quite an incredible journey. One day maybe I'll even write it down. But basically, I came to the realization that we live in a multiverse, not a universe, that there's multiple dimensions overlapping our 3 dimensions, and that these dimensions interact. And I realized and came to the realization that that is what alchemy really is, and that alchemy is a shamanic practice, a peculiar European shamanic practice, but nevertheless a shamanic tradition that goes back for thousands of years, all the way back to Egypt, and it transferred itself up into Europe through the Templars and through the interactions of what happened in Provence and in southern France in the beginning of this last millennium, around 1000 AD, and it transferred itself up into England and Germany and all through Europe, and eventually became ensconced in the architecture of the Gothic cathedrals, of which Fulcanelli assures us were constructed and designed by alchemists. And as I began understanding all of this, I came away with a much deeper sense not only of my own heritage, but that there was once an incredibly profound metaphysical structure to the societies of Europe that went back for a long, long time. That, I guess, became the mission of my life, to then try to get this down into paper and onto film, and to let other people know that the world that we've been told exists is not exactly the way it is, and that everything we know is wrong, and that once we understand that, we not only can understand the world as it really is, but we can feel maybe a little bit better about who we are and where we are and what we've done. In history. And so I guess that's my mission in life.
Excellent. And then I can see the connection. Then the step towards cinema and movies in general isn't so far, so to speak, because you were right there. So I mean, how did you? Have you always, incorporated this idea of I guess we're talking here about some symbolic movies. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by films ever since I was a kid. I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey when I was 15. Yeah. And the usher literally had to pick me up and take me out of the theater because I couldn't get out of my seat at the end of the film. And they had to get ready for the next showing. And I just couldn't get out of my seat. I was paralyzed after the film ended. And I never